Guess who's back? Back again. Guess who's back? Back again. Guess who's back? I'm back again. Let's go. Oh, feels good to be back, man. Oh man, whatever. But guess who's back? Kendall's back. He can stream again, and he's so happy. What's up, Cranium? I know you're missing the streams, brother. I'm sick as hell, by the way. Sick as a dog. Big dog on campus. It's me. It's me. Trust me, it's me. It is your brother. Kidding. But we do have the UFC 314 predictions, and this will probably be a video as well. So we'll go into the last minute predictions. So welcome. Welcome. We have the whole UFC 314 card to go through here. I might skip some fights because they're trash. So I will be doing a fight companion tomorrow, by the way. Tomorrow will be a fight companion that we dive into. We watch the whole card. Not the whole card. I'm not watching fucking Nora Canal versus Haley Cohen. Sorry, ain't watching that shit. But let's get into these predictions, man. Let's get into these. Guess who's back? Back again. Yeah, I'm very much sick though. The fuck? How can I predict a fight? Yair would kick Lopez's intestines. Will kick in Lopez's intestines. Possibly. Banger matchup though if it does happen. I have to sign in. I haven't been at Topology in that long. Oh, no, never mind. I don't have to sign in. We're good. I just need a minute to get stuff together. Let me pull these bitches up though. We pull these bitches up though. Ooh. Not the right one. Not the right one. Not the right one. Just real quick. Let me just go ahead and just move this fat boy over to the right. Why you stream so late night at, bruh? I was 5 minutes from heading to bed, because I didn't realize I got unbanned until like when I was at work. And I made a video before I went to work as well. So I'm trying to get back on my grind. I had a whole breakdown, mental breakdown from my girlfriend the other day. Okay, can I move this? Okay, webcam overlay. We'll move it to the top right. Boom. Lock this again, so I don't have to worry about it later. I think that's good enough, right? You think that's good enough, guys? Can I hide this? There, I can kind of hide it. Maybe not. Just want to hide some of this stuff up here. Unlock that. Make it a bit bigger. There we go. Get that shit shown. Boom. I think we're straight. We're straight and ready to go. Yeah, I think we're ready to go. I think we're all pimp chimping. You think we're pimp chimping, Cranium? I watch that shit its entirety, no cap, no slack. Then I appreciate you, gang. Then I mad appreciate you, bro. You my day one. Yeah. Nora Canol versus Haley Coleman is our first fight of the card. We're gonna take Nora Canol here. I don't care about this fight. I'm being honest with you. This fight sucks. Haley Cohen has had like a lot of injuries recently in her career. She's taken almost 2 years off now. Before that, she took what? like a year off. Like she's just very incredibly inactive. She is athletic though. I think she has some sort of like gymnastics thing going on for her. I forget. It's been forever since I watched her Contender Series fight. I did watch that one live, fucking almost 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. But yeah, Nora Knoll is just athletic. Lost to Cavalcanti, which is a good fighter in her own prospect. She just is you know stronger. Seems like bigger. 35 years old. You know, I guess it's her time. I'm taking Nora Knoll. Fuck this fight. We move on to Trayshawn Gore versus Marco Tulio. Trayshawn Gore he can be, and maybe he will be in this fight. Maybe he might be, a threat of like getting like a guillotine or something. But I think Marco Tulio is just going to be just better. When I watched this fight versus Ihor Peteria, like yeah, it was. There are some times where I'm like, maybe he's not the best, but he seems like he's just way more technical, and I think he's a lot bigger than Trayshawn Gore. Trayshawn Gore says he's 6 foot. Maybe I need to watch or maybe I need to look up the face-offs for this fight because I feel like Marco Tulio is just bigger. But even with that, like I think Marco Tulio overall is just going to be a way more skilled striker than Trayshawn Gore. Trayshawn Gore, like when he fought on Tough, he looked like he was be a threat, like he would be a threat potentially, but like he's incredibly inexperienced. 5-2, only has 7 professional fights. Yeah, man, I just don't trust him. Maybe he can pull off a guillotine, but I can just see Marco Tulio going out there and just putting a clinic on him on the feet and putting him down with a TKO. Probably round 2, I'll go with like a standing TKO. I think Marco Tulio just has that, like not like incredible power to put out Trayshawn Gore, but enough power to sit him down and hurt him, and then he excuse me, but enough power to hurt him and then get a finish standing, but not enough to put him out cold. Yeah. Yep. Moving on, Suma Dwergy versus Mitch Raposo. Suma Dwergy, man, I know he's on a 3-fight losing streak right now, and he looks kind of mid, but he's not actually a bad flyweight. When he fought Matt Schnell, he lost, and that's probably the biggest take from this is when you're not able to put out Matt Schnell, and you eventually end up losing. That's pretty fucking tough, and his grappling game has been very shoddy recently. He can't really stuff the takedowns like when he fought Tim Elliott. But Tim Elliott's like, he's one of those guys who fraud checks people. Charles Johnson. But overall, Suma Dwergy is, I think, a very good striker. And yeah, he couldn't put out Matt Schnell. But honestly, he had like 30 chances in that fight to actually KO Matt Schnell. Just couldn't put him away. And then he just gasses himself out, gets caught in a triangle choke because Matt Schnell took him down, I believe, a reverse position at one point. This fight was forever ago. And Suma Dwergy, I don't think he's bad. If he doesn't wear any knee sleeves for this fight, I think he'll be fine. Mitch Raposo is just mid. I think he just simply is mid. Now, maybe could Mitch Raposo go out there and maybe try to grapple up Suma Dwergy? That's possible because, again, that's a hole in Suma Dwergy's game. But then again, I don't think Mitch excuse me, dude. I keep stuttering. Fucking hell. But then again, I don't think Mitch Raposo is all that, man. I don't think he's all that, man. I think he's just a little bit okay. Like he's okay. I mean, then again, look at the reach advantage for Suma Dwergy, dude. He has 72 inches of reach compared to Mitch Raposo's 64.5. What is that math-wise? 8, pretty much, almost 8 inches of reach. 7.5 inches of reach advantage for Suma Dwergy. So yeah, I'm going to take Suma Dwergy to win this one. Probably not by finish. I think he'll win by decision, like 29-28 with like a close third round where Suma Dwergy's still not a little bit. But I'm going to take Suma Dwergy to get this one done. I don't find him to be bad. He could lose this. Like it does kind of make me a little bit worried. Him versus Him versus Mitch Raposo. But I think overall, I think I can trust Suma Dwergy to get this one done. Moving on. Cedric Dumas versus Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. I will never, and I'll say this first, like not first, but I'll say this just to clarify, I guess, real quick. I will never believe in Cedric Dumas. I'm sorry. This guy doesn't scream talent to me just at all. And yeah, he was able to get on top of, was it Cody Brundage? Um, who did he fight? He took somebody down and was like grappling up a little bit in one of their fights. I forget who it was, but that's about it. His striking is very untechnical in my opinion. It's not very good. It's just very basic. When he fought Sultan Ruzaboev, yeah, he got kind of eye poked, but like let's be real here. He was losing that fight and he was going to lose that fight no matter what. I just don't like Cedric Dumas. And when I compare him to Mikhail Alexeychuk, this dude, again, kind of the same deal when it comes to Sumo Dwerji on a 3-fight losing streak, but he's actually a kind of a killer. Like I'm not gonna lie to you here. Like Mikhail Sachuk, right? He dropped Kevin Holland. Shara Bullet took him to I wouldn't say a close decision, but like he took it to Shara Bullet. When he fought Mikhail Pajeda, you know, it is what it is. That shit happens. Mikhail Pajeda is a monster in the first round. About that, he gasses. But Mikhail is dangerous, man. Like, he's putting out people. He beat Chidi Njokuani, who right now is on a tear and is, I think, very good. I think Njokuani would do unspeakable things to Cedric Dumas. I'm not going to lie to you. I think Mikhail Zajic is just, in terms of skill and just overall style and a level of opponent that he's faced so far in his UFC career, been in the UFC for quite a while now. I think Oleksiejczuk just is going to be able to probably land a nice shot on Cedric Dumas and put him down. I'm confident in that. I think just looking at the skill, I think Mikhail has kind of, you know, somewhat toted around the top, you know, not like a top 30-ish a little bit at middleweight. I think he could get ranked at some point in his career still. He's only 30 years old. Like, he's not this old man that's just like, you know, losing now. He's still young. He's fighting good competition. And I think he has wins on his resume that are good. And he's looked good in some matchups. And it is what it is. He's a tough guy. I think that Mikhail Cedric is going to be more like if this fight ends up getting like really nitty gritty and gets into the and it turns into, excuse me, I got a fucking cough. Excuse me. But if I think, God damn it. But I think if this fight turns into a war, I trust Macau to be the one who is going to be tougher in this scenario and to be the one who's going to push forward and try to actually win. I'm taking Mikhail Sachuk by KO, TKO, maybe round one, honestly. I can see it being a tough first round for Cedric Dumas. Moving on. Darren Elkins versus Julian Erosa. Now, if Erosa ends up losing to Darren Elkins, I'm going to be thoroughly upset. And the reason why is because Julian Erosa has beaten people like Charles Jourdain. He's beaten Alex Caceres. He's beaten guys, Ricardo Ramos, Christian Rodriguez, Hakeem Dawodu. Like, he has beaten guys who potentially could be prospects. And if he loses to Darren Elkins, who's a 40-year-old man who somehow is still doing the damn thing, but just is still tough, but not good. Like, at this point, Darren Elkins is just simply, there's nothing to him. Like, there's nothing to Darren Elkins now besides he can just kind of grind out a fight at his old age. That's kind of all I got for him. Like, he can grapple, but his striking is not good. His grappling isn't that good. He can just kind of grind out a fight. Like, maybe, like, the only way I think Darren Elkins wins fights nowadays is because his opponent is just not able to keep up with him. That's really about it. And Erosa, like, they're both not very good. Like, Erosa has his moments where he looks kind of okay, but, you know, it's only ever against prospects. This is a fight where Erosa should win, but it wouldn't surprise me if he loses. He just is that kind of inconsistent fighter, but he should win, and he should find a way to damage up Darren Elkins. I'm going third round KO, TKO for Julian Erosa. Maybe submission, honestly. Maybe he finds a way to hurt Elkins and gets a choke. Maybe that's probably the closest thing I can come up with. But yeah, I just don't know how Julian Erosa can beat some of these prospects like a C-Rod who looked good for a little bit, who beat other prospects. Ricardo Ramos, who has had his moments. Hakeem Dawodu, who Yeah, isn't the best, but is very technical on the feet for the most part. But if he can beat guys like that, who I think would clear Darren Elkins, um, yeah, I'd be shocked and disappointed if he lost this one. So taking Erosa, he should win. Moving on. Chase Hooper versus Jim Miller. Like my number 5th prospect on my prospect report is Chase Hooper. At lightweight, he has been amazing. Minus 900 is kind of wicked though. That is actually an insane odd. Don't know if I trust that. Jim Miller. Let's get into Jim Miller real quick because Jim Miller, um, I don't know what to really make of him nowadays, man. Because he has his moments still. Like he has, at one point, Jim Miller, I would say like maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, was winning fights by KO, beating dudes up, and he was still an old man and just winning. And it was cool to see, and it seemed like he was reaching like a second prime almost. But I think this version of Jim Miller might be the one where he's on his way out, where he's getting a little bit too old now to keep on fighting at lightweight. Like he isn't some 41-year-old heavyweight or 41-year-old light heavyweight where those guys can still be good like a Jan Blachowicz, right? I think Jim Miller right now is just kind of looking you're kind of seeing that wear and tear out of Jim Miller. And yeah, he beat Damon Jackson. I don't find, hairline Damon Jackson to be really that good, if I'm being real with you. But yeah, Chase Hooper though, let's pivot to Chase Hooper. I've been very impressed with him. I've been very impressed with the way he's been looking recently, especially at lightweight. Borshev beating him on the feet and then submitting him is, I think, massively impressive because if you don't know who Borshev is, he is a very technical and a very good striker on the feet. And for Chase Hooper, who at one point you were extremely worried about how his striking would go in any matchup, like it could be against a complete scrub, you were still worried about his striking, to going out there and being able to strike with Borshev and hurt him, I think is incredible for him in his career. I'm just overall impressed with Chase Hooper. Because at one point when he was like, obviously a few years ago, you're like, maybe this guy, it was cool to bring him in. He was a young prospect. It was nice. Maybe he just won't ever be that good in the UFC. And now Chase Hooper has kind of, I would say, flipped that narrative on his head. And now he's become a guy who actually I can believe in. And at lightweight, he has become an actual legit, like he's become a man now. He's not this young kid anymore. He's actually a legitimate prospect. And him beating Clay Guida, I know it's Clay Guida, but him beating Borshev again, Jordan Levitt was a good performance from him as well. Nick Fiore, whatever. It seems like Chase Hooper is now on the path to becoming an actual prospect and contender down the line at lightweight. And I think Jim Miller, maybe all he has left is a guillotine. Maybe he could put out Chase Hooper. I think Jim Miller still has that power, the old man strength to maybe put down Chase Hooper. But I think when it comes to being on the ground, man, Chase Hooper just is. He looks like he's a fucking problem to deal with on the ground. He's always scrambling and he's just putting on a pace and he's just actively, I think he found his fighting style. And I think Jim Miller, maybe he will find some success in the beginning rounds. But I think as this fight goes on, I'm worried for how Jim Miller's old man cardio is going to hold up. Because even Clay Guida, right? Clay Guida was always known for having, good cardio. That's his whole shtick. And it seems like Clay Guida, even now, is kind of somewhat slowing down in his fights at his old age. I think Jim Miller might reach that place. Like there's a certain point in a fighter's career where you become so old that that your cardio just is not attainable. Like you just can't improve your cardio or just keep your cardio like how you were when you were younger. And I think Jim Miller might be on that point. I think once this fight gets into deep waters, I'm going to trust Chase Hooper to get this one done. I don't see Jim Miller's guillotine working on Chase Hooper. Of course, Chase Hooper's jiu-jitsu and grappling game, I think, is just too elite for him to get caught and submitted by a guillotine. On the feet, though, I am a bit worried, but Chase Hooper had a good performance versus Borshev, and I think he would beat Jim Miller, honestly, on the feet. So I'm going to take Chase Hooper by decision, 29-28. Maybe there's a moment in the first round where Jim Miller has some success, maybe hurts Chase Hooper. but I think Hooper throughout the 3-round fight will prove to be the young and upper coming, the young and upper what the fuck am I saying? The young and up and coming dog. So yeah, I'm taking Chase Hooper. Fuck me, I'm muted. Fuck me, I'm muted. Fuck me, I'm muted. Fuck me, I'm muted. I'm muted. I'm muted. I'm muted. What part did I fucking cut out at? I guess I'll restart. I'll just restart this prediction because it just doesn't make sense. I'll restart this one. Start the prediction. All right, I'll restart it. I'll restart it. All right, here you go. But moving on to Verna Jandaroba versus Yan Xiaonan. I'll make this one quick and easy. Jandaroba is just going to lay and prey on Yan Xiaonan. There was a fight with Carlos Barza that Yan Xiaonan had a long time ago, and it just seems like she has a grappling problem. Like against Yang Wei Li, got taken down a few times. She can strike, and that's like her big hope. Maybe she can like find a way to land a nice shot on Jandaroba here, but that's I don't know if I trust that against a woman who's so like forward. I guess dude, it's gonna be a boring fight. I think we're gonna see Jandaroba take her down and lay and prey on her and do nothing for 3 rounds. Might find a rear naked choke or submission, but I think once Yan Xiaonan is on the ground, I just don't trust her to be absolutely safe. I'm gonna go submission actually for Jandaroba, like round 2 or 3, probably round 3. Honestly, I just Jandaroba's just gonna be that kind of girl who's gonna take her down and just fucking make it boring and stupid. Whatever, we'll move on, man. Fuck that fight. 9 months is crazy. What's up, Dan Mijo? Dan Mijo. 9 months is crazy. It is crazy, bro. It's been forever. It's been forever, man. I'm sick as hell, by the way. If you couldn't know, if you didn't notice. But let's get into Dan Ige versus Sean Woodson. You know, Sean Woodson, every single time I predict one of his fights, I always say the same thing. That whole Luis Saldana performance just made me fucking cringe, and it worries me for every single fight in the future because that fight where he got dropped and should have lost, should have got TKO finished, but got luckily Saldana has no IQ and need him in the face while he was on the ground. So, um, I'll always defer to that Sean Woodson fight against him and be like, dude, you can trust Sean Woodson, but honestly, I don't trust him. But he's looked good. Besides against Fernando Padilla, honestly, when he fought Padilla, he like gassed almost immediately into the fight. Like I think it was less than a round. I think it was. I think in fact it was around 3 minutes into the fight. Both of them were completely gassed. So I'm still worried when it comes to Sean Woodson, man. Like he continuously proves to me that maybe like he continuously gives me doubt in all of his fights for the most part. excuse me. And like, yeah, he beat Charles Jourdain, but Charles Jourdain was I mean way too small for featherweight. I'm glad you beat him. Like you're 6'2", like you're just a monster of a man. Your build is absolutely crazy, and you beat Charles Jourdain. Good job. Who's a lot smaller than you? Who's not this 6'2", 78 reach inch demon? That's a fucking tongue twister, bro. If I ever had one in my life. Yeah, but I might, but yeah, I don't know, man. I might trust him to get it done versus Dan Ige. And the reason I'll say that is because Sean Woodson, dude, he is 6'2", was 78. I can't, dude, it's a fucking tongue twister, man. It's a goddamn tongue twister. But yeah, whatever. He is 6'2", with 78 inches of reach, which is 7 more than Dan Ige, who's not a big guy for featherweight. Like he's another 5'7". It's just gonna be tough for Dan Ige to work himself on the inside. And I don't see him grappling up Sean Woodson because Sean Woodson has good knees. Like we saw him KO Terrence McKinney with one on the Contender Series forever ago. Like I can see Sean Woodson being able to time a knee on Dan Ige and putting him down. So I don't know. Sean Woodson has good body work as well. Like I can see him just kind of bullying Dan Ige, who's trying to like get into the fight, trying to find his way on the inside, but just can't because Sean Woodson just keeps at range and is just a fucking weight bully, bro. I mean, is he even a weight bully? Because his legs are so fucking skinny. His legs are so fucking skinny. I'm gonna take Sean Woodson by like decision. I want Dan Ige to win. I really do want him to win. I'm rooting for Dan Ige in this matchup, but I don't know if I can trust him to get past the range and the size of Sean Woodson, who does have good striking. You know, for all it's worth, for everything I said negative about Sean Woodson and all of his things that give me doubt, he does have good striking. He has good boxing combinations, and he can play at range with his kicks. Like that's kind of the whole thing. And Dan Ige might just be too small for him. Let's be real here. Yair has every right to hate on Lopez. Why? Give me why, Dan Mijo. Who'd you take in Mitch Raposo's fight? Sumuduerji. I took Sumuduerji. Don't worry, I'm gonna edit this up and post it later. So if you miss anything, you can go back and rewatch it, or you can just rewatch the stream. But yeah, I'm gonna take Sean Woodson by decision. I'm worried about it. Yeah, I want Danny Ige to win. Moving on. Nikita Krylov versus Dominic Reyes. This is where it all comes tumbling down again for Dominic Reyes. Yeah, I don't trust him. Nikita Krylov is good. He's just good. He's just really good, by the way. He took Ankalaev to a close decision forever ago. He KO'd Gustafson. That was an older version of him. I get that. Beat Ozdemir. Submitted Ryan Spann. It's been 2 years off for him, but I still think even with that, I can trust Krylov to beat Dominic Reyes, whose chin I'm still questionable about. Yeah, he beat Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith has nothing to offer when it comes to striking and power, nowadays especially. Dustin Jacoby, great win. Awesome win. Jacoby, not the biggest power puncher in the world. You know what I'm saying? I just think that Krylov is really talented when it comes to the grappling and striking. And I think he has more power than Jacoby and Anthony Smith. And I trust him to get it done, man. Krylov is so good. He just is simply good. I trust him to win. I do. By KO round one. Dominic Reyes, I hope he wins. I'm obviously always rooting for him. He got robbed against John Jones. It is what it is. The whole narrative. But I'm worried, man. I'm worried for Dominic Reyes. I think he gets chinned in this matchup. Maybe he could prove me wrong. Maybe Dominic Reyes' chin isn't as bad as I think it is. Maybe I'm overestimating it, or I'm just giving it not enough credit. And maybe he can power through something and like maybe put the pressure on Nikita Krylov and break him throughout 3 rounds. But I think we're gonna find that shot. Like the Krylov can find that shot. He's found it against multiple other opponents. He's looked good. Yeah, he lost to Paul Craig, but that was by fluke submission. I'll be real with you. That was a fluke submission against Paul Craig. He was whooping on Paul Craig's ass and then got randomly choked out with a triangle. It was weird. Ankalaev, again, very close decision. Krylov he has power in his hands. He's technical. And I think if you have those two things and you're fighting against 2025 Dominic Reyes, I think I might trust him to chin him. Like, I think I will trust him to put down Dominic Reyes and finish him. Yair was born there, so he can have an opinion on his country, plus his teammate was jumped. Now, I have some counter arguments, Dan Miho, because apparently the reason why Yair's teammate was jumped was because his teammate was being rude to a woman in Lopez's gym. Apparently. The whole thing, him being upset with, that's one thing I really like disagree with a lot, is Jair being mad that he's repping Mexico. The dude moved to Mexico from at an early age. He lives there. He trains there. He can rep Mexico all he wants. Now, I don't know the culture there in Mexico, but I think I think he should be more welcoming to a guy who lives in his country, who trains in his country, who reps his country, who's fighting for a title. I don't know. You know? What's up, John Dong? Krylov by sub. I know people say Reyes has amazing takedown defense because of the Jones fight, but based on the Volkan fight, I don't trust it. You don't trust Krylov to take him down? I don't know. So far, I got Dan Ige and Krylov. I don't mind Dan Ige, but I think Krylov is a must pick at this point. I think you have to pick Krylov here, honestly. But yeah, I'm gonna take Krylov to get this one done by KO. Maybe ground and pound or maybe sub. Like, you probably can go for sub in this one, but I think I trust Krylov with a KO TKO. Moving on to our big boy fight. Our big boy are probably, honestly, maybe the people's main event, low key. Possibly. Bryce Mitchell versus Gene Silva. I put a lot of dogs down in my day. They come to my farm. They attack my animals. They attack me and my family. But they all have one thing in common. They squeal when they die. Gene Silva by KO round 1. I don't know. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, by the way. I don't know, actually. Because there has been some circulating arguments going around Gene Silva. And possibly it is right. And I have some counter arguments to those arguments. And one of those arguments being is that we saw Charles Jourdain take down Gene Silva multiple times. Now, that is a fair criticism. And if you do pick Bryce Mitchell based on maybe his grappling defense is not there, that's fine. However, a counter argument to that is I don't think Gene Silva was preparing, or even expecting Charles Jourdain to go for takedowns. I think that was probably not a part of his camp whatsoever. Apparently, there was word that in some practice footage that Gene Silva was getting taken down quite consistently. But you know what? I think I do trust Gene Silva, even if he does get taken down, to get back up at moments. Maybe he will get controlled for a minute or two, but to find his way back up to the feet and possibly land some shots that are more damaging than what Bryce Mitchell is doing on the ground, right? I think I might trust Gene Silva just to do more damage overall in each round to win over Bryce Mitchell. Now, Bryce Mitchell can get it done, man. His striking isn't bad, by the way. Bryce Mitchell is not just this one-trick grappler, lay and pray kind of guy. When he fought Edson Barboza, I think at one point he dropped him. I don't think Bryce Mitchell is this kind of guy you can say, oh, he's just gonna, get his takedown stuffed and then beat up on the feet. If it's only even on the feet, man, I can see Bryce Mitchell having some success. I don't think he's gonna be totally. I don't think he totally gets smoked by Gene Silva on the feet, by the way. But I do think at some point Gene Silva will find a shot that probably does put down Bryce Mitchell. Second round TKO. Doesn't put Bryce Mitchell out completely, but it drops him and he gets TKO finished. Now, Bryce Mitchell's good, man. He's good. Simply, he's just good. He's not bad. I don't think he'll get blown away in this fight by Gene Silva like some people say. I think he'll be fine for the most part, but I do think he will get caught at some point. Honestly, I think as long as Bryce Mitchell doesn't go out there and just only strike with Gene Silva and doesn't go for any takedowns, this probably might be a decision. Honestly, I'm changing my pick a little bit. I'm going to say it's going to be decision Silva, in a very close 29-28 split decision where we see Bryce Mitchell get some success with the grappling and control Gene Silva for a little bit. But then what happens is in those moments where Gene Silva gets back up to his feet, we see Silva do some damage, maybe like rock Bryce Mitchell at moments, but then we see Mitchell take him down again, get some control time. But then the round's like, I don't know. Do you score Bryce Mitchell's, control time, or do you score Gene Silva's punches on the feet? Like that will be the narrative. And I can see Gene Silva winning like a very close decision, honestly. Silva by baptism. My name is Bryce Mitchell. Gene will win if he respects Bryce's ground game. He better not pull Gillies. Only way Bryce wins is by decision, and we know who they will give it to. Who's that? Who is they in this reference? So I do think it will be a close fight for the most part. I am worried though for Gene Silva. He is my number one prospect on the prospect report. Will he stay on the prospect report or will he be off entirely? It depends on this outcome. Because if he wins versus Bryce Mitchell, no more Gene Silva as number one prospect. He will be booted down to the legendary prospect list. I don't know. I'm spoiler alert. I do have something in store for Gene Silva if he does beat Bryce Mitchell for the prospect report and for future guys who are prospects. But Bryce Mitchell, man, I'm sorry. I don't mind who wins this, honestly. Like, I think if Bryce Mitchell wins, it's good for him going forward. He'll become a bigger name, and he'll be doing more interviews, hopefully, and more podcasts where he says a bunch of funny shit. And if Gene Silva wins, then he's a certified prospect, contender, possibly future champion down the line. So either one I don't mind, but yeah, Bryce Mitchell, I don't know if I can fully trust him on this one. Moving on. Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull. I think it's a bit too late for Pitbull now, man. If this was, like 4 years ago, I'd be down for it. I think he would easily beat Yair. But at this point in his career, man, he's taking some losses. Sergio Pettis, Chihiro Suzuki. He lost to, what's his face? Who's that one guy? God damn, I forget his name. But he's taken some losses, man, recently. And not recently, it's been a year, almost 2 years against, his last loss. But I don't know if this guy is gonna be that, that old Patricio Pitbull who you're like, dude, he's a fucking dog coming in. Bellator, he's one of the best Bellator fighters. And I think he's just gonna be a little bit too small for Yair. I think Yair thrives, besides against Volk, right? But I think Yair thrives against guys who are smaller than him, who he can just kick all damn day. Like against Max, which Max wasn't too much smaller than him, height-wise, by the way. But his kicks are just nasty. And you have to be able to grapple him like how Ortega did, or like how a Volk did, which Volk did hurt him actually, and then take him down and then ground and pound him. But I don't see this pit bull having that Volk grit, having that Volk mightiness, or having that, Ortega, I just got dumped by Tracy Cortez, I'm angry phase, I don't see Pitbull having that in him. And maybe he will be more amped because this is his UFC debut. He's finally in the UFC. But here's my take, though. Here's the hot take that everybody's going to be like, what the fuck did he just say? I think the UFC is bringing in guys who are from other promotions, and they're kind of plotting on them to lose, right? We just saw, I think, Curtis Blades have a fight with somebody booked that fell out recently, and that guy did not deserve to be in the UFC. And I think they purposely gave him Curtis Blades so he would get embarrassed. Now, I think that's the same thing kind of for some of these guys who are coming in. Besides maybe a few, like there's a couple guys like Kai Sakura who they want to win, obviously. And who's the other guy? I forget. But I think the UFC is plotting on Pitbull. Pitbull is like Pitbull's the Bellator star. Pitbull is the kind of guy everybody knows who's like one of the better fighters outside the UFC who fought at Bellator, their main competition for forever. I think they want to embarrass him a little bit and give him Yair and have him get KO'd. And they're like, listen, dude, see, Bellator was never on our level. It was never with us, I think that's kind of where they're going for this a little bit. Maybe not. Because I don't think the UFC cares about Pitbull. Like, he's 37 years old, almost 38. He's old. Featherweights. These guys don't really do well past 35 in the lower weight classes. I don't think the UFC has much stock invested in the pit bull here. I see Yair going out there and just being on the feet, landing his high kicks, his really fast kicks, his low kicks are nasty as well. His cardio has improved ever since he took the. Damn, what a stutter. God damn. But his cardio improved ever since he took that 2-year layoff. After, like, when he came back to fight Max Holloway, showed an incredible 5-round cardio in that. Ortega, let's be real here, in the first fight versus Ortega, he submitted him. Let's be real here. Josh Emmett submitted Josh Emmett. Like, he has such amazing body kicks. Like, honestly, I think Yair, the best part of his game is his body kicks. Just they're so fast and they just hit the target easily. I can see him landing those all day against a guy who's smaller than him and just easily, winging some upstairs whenever he feels like it because he's smaller, a lot smaller than Yair. Yeah, as maybe Pitbull can go out there and have a grappling heavy game plan and take down Yair because he has been susceptible to that. But I think Yair recognized, damn, I got fucking taken down and embarrassed by Brian Ortega. It's been a year. Let's work on that. So in this past year, if Yair can't stuff a fucking takedown versus Pitbull and he loses by ground and pound or submission or just gets grinded out to a decision where he's on bottom the whole entire fight, then fuck him. Lopez is right. Lopez is straight up right. But I'm going to take Yair decision. Yeah. No, KO. Round 2. KO round 2. That's what we're going to go with. Yair should win this. He just is so dynamic with amazing kicks. I think he'll win. Moving on. Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett. Another hot take coming from me right now. So, put your seatbelt on, get strapped, because Michael Chandler, in my opinion, has always been trash. Even since he entered the UFC, even before the UFC, I think he's been a subpar, and he's like, I think he has been very subpar, and he's lucky that he gets the fights that he gets in the UFC. Because telling me this, him fighting Oliveira, Dean Jit with that 20. Thank you, Dean Jit, with the 20. With the 20. With the 20. Where was I at, man? I'm recording this for a video, by the way. I'm going to edit it and post it in the morning. Fuck. What was I saying, though? Thank you, Dean Jit, my favorite Hawaiian. Bless you. Chandler versus Paddy is a low-level 50-50 fight between the two worst-ranked lightweights. No. I don't agree with that, actually. I think Paddy is low-key kind of good. I'm not going to trip here, bro. But let's go back to my Chandler take first because that's the main course of this prediction. Chandler, I have watched so many of his fights, and I have gone back and rewatched a lot of Chandler fights. The dude just, it seems like once he gets settled into a fight, he gets worse. His defense becomes incredibly bad. And the way I see this is like, if you go back and watch like even his first Oliveira fight for the belt, even his second Oliveira fight, when you watch his Poirier fight, he gets a bit overzealous a lot, and he just loses all sense of defense. And I think on a lot, like, he has decent wrestling, but Poirier took him down and submitted him. Well, not even took him down, but Poirier submitted him. Gaethje can scramble out of his takedowns. Oliveira had his back. Like, Oliveira was, just clearly showing that he was just way better in the first 4 rounds. And then, Oliveira gets caught in the 5th with a flurry of punches. Good job, Michael Chandler. You had some heart in you for a little bit. But, that version of Oliveira, I think if Oliveira really wanted to, he could have finished Chandler at any moment at any moment. He could have done that. I think Oliveira was like, listen, I don't want to get too overzealous here and then get finished by a fluke KO from Michael Chandler. I don't want to get hurt and throw the fight away. Let's just continue to grapple and just win this fight based on decision. I think that version of Oliveira was not trying to actually finish Chandler. I think he just wanted to get a win in a very safe way. And I think at any moment, Oliveira could have finished him. And Paddy, right? No, move on to Paddy. Paddy's decent. His grappling is pretty decent. Now, his striking and his defense looks very terrible, dog shit, awful. I understand that. And maybe this whole prediction might blow up in my face and we see Chandler actually break that Scousers don't get knocked out, lad, sort of narrative that Patty has going for him. Maybe I could be entirely wrong. But I think Patty is just going to be, he's powerful. He has good grappling. I can see him getting the back of Chandler and choking him out. That's the thing. Patty has good jiu-jitsu. He has good scrambles. He can find his way to the back. And if Poirier could do it, I think at some point Patty can as well, honestly. Now, it's a 5-round fight. And I do kind of favor Chandler's cardio over Pimlet. Now, Chandler's cardio isn't amazing either. Like, his cardio it's shoddy, right? If Chandler wasn't getting out grappled for the entire 4 rounds versus Oliveira, I think that 5th round would have been incredibly more unlikely. But excuse me. But I think what Patty showed us versus Tony Ferguson in that 3rd round cardio, I do somewhat favor the somewhat mediocre cardio of Chandler as this fight goes on, especially because I do believe that if this fight goes to a 5th round, that probably means that Patty was doing some work on the ground, right? Because if it doesn't go to like 5 rounds, and that probably means Chandler probably killed him early or that Pimlet got a quick submission, right? So I think if this fight happens to get into the later rounds, we see a Pimlet who's having some success in the grappling for the most part, and Chandler's not having too many opportunities on the feet to really put down Patty. But Patty's a smart little fighter, man. His chin's up in the air. That's the only issue that I have with him. But Chandler, like, what good KOs has he had? What good, like, besides the Tony Ferguson one, that old man Tony Ferguson, who's never been the same since the first Gaethje fight. What? Who? Dan Hooker? Oh, great. He KO'd Dan Hooker. I mean, he couldn't finish Oliveira when he had him hurt in the 1st round. He couldn't finish Justin Gaethje when he had him hurt in the 1st round. He couldn't finish Poirier when he had him hurt in the 1st round. And he couldn't finish Oliveira in the 5th round when he had him hurt. So, I mean, even if Chandler hurts Patty, who I think has a better chin than old man Tony Ferguson, I don't know if he actually puts down Patty and TKOs him, right? Maybe he will. It is possible, but I don't think he does. And Patty on the feet, he's very patient, right? We saw this versus I think Tony Ferguson and against Bobby Green in the beginning of their fight. He's very patient on the feet. He will land low kicks. He will make the fight boring if he has to. Now, I don't think that Chandler will, I think he'll be, obviously doing his Chandler things. He'll be going out there. He'll be throwing his big overhand right, stepping through with a left hook like he normally does. Like, he'll be forcing the fight upon Patty. But I can see Patty be on the outside a little bit, scooting around, trying to land his low kicks, do some damage. And then when Chandler overextends for a 2-punch, 3-punch combination, stepping through with his punches, I can see Patty find a way to go for a takedown, maybe a scramble, some way or some form, get the back of Chandler and find a way to choke him out. I don't find Chandler's jiu-jitsu to be amazing either, right? Again, Poirier choked him out. I can see Chandler when the fight, because again, like, I'll restart real quick. Like how I mentioned, it seems like every single time Chandler gets past like the 2.5, 3-minute mark of the 1st round, his training and like his defense just completely goes away, right? If you watch him versus Oliveira in their first matchup, his hand was tight against his face. Like he was having a nice tight guard. And then you get past 2.5 minutes and it goes away. Even against Gaethje, it's the same thing. His guard is very good. His defense looks tight. And then a couple punches gets landed on him. And now he's just lost all of his defense. That's where I start to worry when it comes to Chandler. And I think once we get past the 2.5, 3-minute mark of this fight, I think his defense and the way he fights is just going to fucking fall apart. And I think Patty, I know he looks weird. I know he looks goofy. I know his chin's up in the air and striking is very, like, not the best when it comes to his boxing skill, but he has decent kicks. And I think he has good scrambles. I think he will find a way to not get finished by Chandler in the 1st round and find a way to his back and get a submission. Rear naked choke, round 2. That's my take. Shoot me in the face. I got Patty. Chandler relied heavily on athleticism he no longer has. As shit as Patty is, he's overall a bit more skilled in his prime. I agree. Patty can't box, but if he kicks at range, baiting Chandler's overextensions, in times a takedown. Let me cough real quick. I'll reread that. All right. Patty can't box, but if he kicks at range, baiting Chandler's overextensions and times the takedowns off of that, he should win. I agree. If Patty doesn't get overzealous and try to box in the pocket with Chandler, he should be fine. Now, again, like I said before, this all could go. Oh, damn it, camera died. I don't know when that died. Sorry, my camera died. But like I said before, again, this all could come, blasting in my face. Pause. Like it could blow up in my face, and Patty gets knocked out for the first time in his career at 30 years old in his prime. Like maybe that's just shit happens. You know what I'm saying? Against Chandler, who's 38, almost 39, who can't beat a cold at this point in his career besides Tony Ferguson. I'm gonna trust Patty to get it done. Does worry me though. Like I'm not saying like it's gonna be an easy win for Patty. No, not at all. But I trust Patty to get a submission win. Chandler's big overhand is definitely open. He's always been open, man. His striking, he's always open. He leaves his hands down by his waist whenever he throws hooks. He's always open, or even straight shots, but if that. But let's get into our main event, our main course here. Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. Let me burp real quick. Take a drink. I gotta charge up for this one. I gotta massively charge up for this one. Here we go. Now, when it comes to Volk, let's be real here. I can see the narrative, right? Where Volk is just doing so well on the feet. He's landing his low kicks. His jab is money. He's piecing up Diego Lopez. And everybody's like, oh my God, he's back. Volk is back. Diego Lopez is not very good on the feet. Volkanovski's looking like his prime self again. Going to be featherweight champ. Slumped. Out cold Diego Lopez uppercut. That's the way I see it, bro. That's the way I see it. I can see Volk having so much success going out there, putting on work on Diego Lopez. His jab is money. His low kicks are money. He's having his combinations. We see Volk get that little jump up and he's going, woo! He's doing his little, yeah. He's getting into the fight, feeling confident. And then we just see an uppercut from Diego Lopez, put him out cold. That's kind of how I view this fight, man. I don't think Volk, that Islam fight ruined him. It did. And it sucks to say that, but it did. Volk has a glass chin now. I wouldn't call it a glass chin because he's always been hurt, right? We've always seen Volk get hurt by people. But his recovery is now where things start to fall apart, right? Because now that he's aging now, him versus Mendez, like when he got dropped by Mendez, we saw him get dropped really quickly, and then he recovered really fast. Like I think Volk's chin has always been not good, but his recovery has always been amazing. And now I think that now he is, 36 years old, 36 and a half. I think his recovery is falling apart, right? And Diego Lopez, man, I do worry about his striking and his grappling game because he can be controlled on the ground as well. But obviously his jiu-jitsu is a threat. Just like how Brian Ortega was, we saw Brian Ortega, have success and, near putting Volk out with the guillotine moments in the third round versus Volk. Like this fight isn't just, Volk takes him down and wins that way. No, because Diego Lopez can find a way to get a submission, get a triangle choke, get a guillotine, get something off on Volk, and maybe put him out cold as well. Like that wouldn't surprise me if we see Lopez win by submission as well. But Lopez, like he is one of the most dangerous guys in the first round. Because who the fuck hurts Brian Ortega? Who the fuck KOs Brian Ortega, puts him out cold, and then wakes him up again with another punch? Listen, Ortega has had one of the best chins I've ever seen at featherweights, and for Lopez to actually slump him down, I think it's different kinds of power. It is, I think The only person you can compare power to at featherweight is Topuria. I think Lopez's power is fucking crazy, and his finishing instinct is unbelievable. That fight versus what's his face, Sadiq Yusuf, dude, his finishing instinct is unbelievable. If at any point we see Volk get hurt, like how he did against, hold on, I'll restart real quick. If at any point we see Volk get hurt, like how he did against Max Holloway, like how he did against Islam in the first fight, like against Islam in the second fight, and Topuria, if at any point Volk gets hurt, it's over. Straight up, it's over. It's done. He's cooked. I don't see a world where Lopez doesn't hurt Volk in the first round at the very least. You know, it would take a very gritty performance from Volk that I just don't know if I can trust at this point in his career. If this was Volk, you know, before the Islam rematch, I think I could trust him to beat Lopez, honestly. But I don't know if this version of Volk has that level of chin and recovery to survive a really, you know, bad first round versus Diego Lopez. That's where I'm worried. That's where I'm extremely worried. And I think Lopez, right? Again, his striking doesn't always like impress me that much. His grappling jiu-jitsu, I think, obviously does, but his threat is amazing. Like his power is amazing, and his instinct is amazing. And this is a guy in his prime who's 30 years old fighting Volk, who's had his damage. Lopez hasn't had that yet, man. Hasn't had that damage, right? And I'll say this, like, just to like not completely dunk on Volk. If this fight goes on for like, 4 or 5 rounds, it goes to the 4th, 5th round, then maybe Volk has a solid chance, right? Has a good chance. Maybe he grapples up Diego Lopez a little bit, stays safe on the ground, and gets into the 4th, 5th round. Then maybe Volk wins that way. But I don't know if it gets to that round. Like, I don't trust this fight to get to the 4th or 5th round for Volk for him to win. I just don't trust it. Excuse me. Does Volk retire if he goes out cold? Yeah. Yes. Only way I see Volk winning is lay and pray for 5 rounds. I agree. I simply agree with that. I don't see a way for Volk to win. Like, yeah, he will have his moments on the feet. Like, I think Volk overall is probably still the most technical striker at featherweight and possibly even in the UFC. Like, I think he is still that good as a striker. Besides, there's moments where he'll throw a low kick and his chin's like this in the air. Like, it's up in the air, ready to be caught. And I think at one point we'll see Volk. Dude, I think he'll get a little bit too overzealous. He'll charge in like he normally does because he goes in head first. Like Volk consistently, when he goes for a combination, will come in like this with his chin tucked, but his head first like this. And I can see on the exit of that exchange, we see Lopez land a nasty uppercut. Gets like a tie, collar tie, just uppercuts it almost Gaethje style. And we see Volk get flattened by it. That's my take. I'm going uppercut round 1. Lopez. And Volk retires. Fuck. I love Volk, man. He was such a guy that I got behind. I was always kind of like, man, he's beating Holloway. Fuck this guy. He's a fucking loser. Why is he beating Holloway? Holloway should be champion. Oh, damn, was throw up. But but I was like on that train a little bit for a while. And then he fought Islam. And I was like, yeah, no, this is my dude. This is obviously my dude. I can't. And so for him to go out this way and probably get KO'd 3 times in a row to end his career, like, and you know what? You know what about Volk, man? I still think he won't retire. Like, he should retire, but I don't think he will, because he's that kind of guy who's going to be very stubborn, and he's going to see it till like he almost dies, right? I can see a 40-year-old Volk still in the UFC being like a Jim Miller almost, getting KO'd by prospects. That's what I see, man. That's generally what I see with Volk, man. I don't know. It's Lopez. It's Lopez, man. It just is. He's that dude, bro. He's that dude. It's just too dangerous, man. And maybe you could argue this. I mentioned this as well, so I forgot to mention it. Lopez in that 3rd round versus Dan Ige was very, about to get finished at moments in that. Uh, I don't think Volk get to that point, right? That was a Lopez who's fighting Dan Ige on 4 hours notice, right? It was like 4 hours, like literally less than a day's notice, hours notice. There's a Lopez who I think had to adjust his game plan style to fight Dan Ige a little bit instead of Ortega. I think he was more so focused on a guy who has, good jiu-jitsu and kind of a slow pace striking style. Where Dan Ige, I think his style is a lot different than Brian Ortega's. So I think that version of Lopez, like maybe he still could gas out in the later rounds, but I think he might adjust his game plan to fit a more 5 round fight style than how he did against Dan Ige, which was on hours notice with a kind of different fight style than Brian Ortega. Um, I think now that Lopez is on a high contract, he'll mysteriously have massively improved cardio. Same things happens with a lot of guys once they can afford roids. Yeah, or just a nutritionist as well. Not everything is just roid. I don't think Lopez is on roids, man. I don't think he is. I don't think he's on EPO or anything like crazy like that, or any sort of steroid or drug. I think it's just naturally when you see guys who are making 10 for 10 in the UFC debut, who live in an apartment complex that's supported by by whatever money they have scraping over from their from going to the gym and fighting in the UFC to their secondary job, and then once they make $1 million, they can suddenly afford a nutritionist and look better and leaner. I don't know if I support that narrative. Like once they get like to a certain point, they just start taking roids. I don't think Lopez is on roids. He's had his kind of power for a while now. Uh, yeah, I just see him winning. Like I see different ways for him winning, and the only way I see Volk winning is by lay and pray for 5 rounds against Diego Lopez, who is dangerous on the ground, where Volk had several scary moments against Brian Ortega, where I think Lopez would probably be the one to submit him in those moments, But I don't see Volk chinning him. I don't see Volk finding a way to fuck up his leg enough to where he TKOs him with leg kicks. Um, yeah. The only way I see Volk winning is if Lopez never hurts him and he grapples him up, or that Lopez just suddenly has no power anymore to hold Volk. Once Volk's chin massively just is like granite now, I don't see a way where Volk wins. Yeah. So I'm taking Lopez KO TKO round 1. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got for you guys. Yeah, if you enjoyed this is on YouTube, by the way. I'm gonna edit this up later today. But if you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, bell notifications. But I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace. But yeah, back to chat. Yeah, we'll talk some more, I guess. Everyone at the highest level is on roids. I'm not hating on these guys because I love PEDs. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't. You think Curtis Blade's on roids? You think Shamil Gaziev is on roids? I think he popped, actually. Didn't he? Yeah. All right. I don't even know. Hold on, let me fucking. I'm trying to pull this back up, low key. I'm trying to show this. Oh my god. Um, um, I forgot to do this, bro. I just. I don't remember. Yeah, it's whatever. But I don't like how O'Malley got another shot. I agree with that. That's a whole video in itself that I might make. Only way he has a chance in his first round, they should have made him fight Piotr Yan again. I think I completely agree with you. 100% agree with you, man. Dean Jip, I think you're totally justified. I think you're totally correct. I think you're totally right. Dude, I'm so sick, man. I'm about to get off now. I need to eat and I'm sick. I need to shower and edit this. So, oh, your boy is not feeling well at all. But yeah, that's my predictions. Oh, by the way, guys, if you haven't joined the topology group, I'll pull it up real quick. If you haven't joined this, join it. Let me pull it up, man. My picks locked, by the way. They did. Okay, I'll save them again. But join this group, man. Let me find the group. Join this group. You can compete against me and others. But go ahead. Oh, I gotta add Karen Killshot to the group. But join this. I'll put it in the chat real quick. Join that group, please. If you haven't. Lopez's car looked good against Ortega, but it's easier to keep up a pace against a punching bag. I also agree with that. I also agree with that, Mr. Toad. I don't. It's just easier because like Dan Ige was, I think, a tougher fight, honestly. I don't know. I think he just had a lot to worry about with Dan Ige on 4 hours notice. Like, I don't think he felt confident in his game plan at all. I think it's just like, oh man, this guy wants to fucking fight. I'll fight. You know, he's a dog, man. Lopez is a dog. He's out there trying to fight guys on 4 hours notice. He don't give a shit. Like, he's worked hard to get to this point, man. It's crazy. Honestly, it's insane. Like when Lopez fought Evloev for the first time, if you would have told me Lopez would go on to fight for the belt and possibly win it before Evloev does, I'd be like, no fucking way. No shot. So with Dana White in boxing, is the UFC going down? No, I don't think so. Dana White in boxing. Let's look it up. Look it up. What you got for me, homie? Dana White in boxing. No, Dana White's TKO boxing plans reportedly include fight. Hold on. Dana White's TKO boxing plans reportedly include fight purses ranging from. This was March 19th, by the way. I don't even know what you're talking about. 20K to six figures. The entry of TKO on the boxing market. So I don't know what is going on. He wants to do some more boxing ventures. Trying to start a boxing league. Honestly, with the way fucking boxing is nowadays, I don't fucking mind that. Low key, boxing is dog shit. There's so many outside factors going into the Ige fight that it's kind of hard to apply to the Volk fight. His cardio is a big question mark for now, but I trust he's on a good stack. Good stack. He's on that fucking EPO. He's on that test. He's on that Ball. He's on that fucking on that John Jones perk. That's what he's on. On that John Jones pill. Exactly what he's on. Any updates on John Jones? He's a bitch. No, let's look it up. Let's look it up. I keep going back and forth. As I know of, no. He's still ducking Tom Espo. That's all I know. Did y'all see that Kobe Covington may go to WWE? He'd be pretty decent for that, as long as he doesn't fuck up his promos. He'd be all right for that, honestly. He'd be a good personality for it. I'm so sick, bro. Dominic Reyes, John Jones not happy that people forever are going to say he didn't beat me. But they're right. Dominic Reyes won. He won. He won fair and square. He won 3 rounds to 2. See the photos real quick. Actually, let's go to YouTube real quick. Ceremony weigh-ins. I just want to see some. I want to see some shits. Can you guys hear this? I can a little bit. I'm gonna mute the audio. No copyright. Yeah, I'm trying to see this. Kidding me? You fucking kidding me, bro? What's up, Calico? What's up, gang? What's up? Type shit. Yeah, bro. They're both 6 foot my ass. Fuck out of here. Both 6 foot my ass. Dude, if Trayshawn Gore's 6 foot, my cock is 12 inches. Fuck out of here. Dude, Patty is small. I thought Patty isn't. Okay, I was like, damn, Patty ain't that much taller than Michael Chandler. That's not what I expected. No, he's just wearing shoes. Motherfucker. Also gasses out with a lot of wrestling. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, if Vinicius Oliveira is the counter to Marab, then like any grappler, then Marab is a huge. Like, I think it could be so fruity. If one of your followers was in the same city within 10 pounds and you offered you 500 for a 3-round spar, would you? It's in 10 pounds of me. How much experience do they have, Dean Jip? I probably would take that. $500? Fuck yeah. For how long though? 3-round spar? I could 3 5-minute rounds? I could probably survive that. Or I knew what I would do. I just cover up and let them choke me out. $100? Fuck it. I'm fine with that. Hooker, Poirier, and Oliveira KO him, and Holloway and Arman leave him in a bloody mess after 5. I don't know if Hooker KOs him. Poirier probably does. No, but Poirier sucks on the ground, man. Dude, if Patty gets one takedown on Poirier, it's done. Poirier has terrible fucking jiu-jitsu. Hooker, I think, maybe Hooker. Oliveira, I think, beats Patty easily. But if it happened, if it happens soon, I think, like current Oliveira, I think beats Patty. But like 38-year-old Oliveira in a couple years from now, I don't know. Holloway, I think, just fucks up on the feet. I agree. And Arman, he's more dynamic on the feet and he stuffs his takedowns. So yeah, I think Arman beats him as well. 3 5-minute rounds, and they have a few years of amateur. Within 10 pounds, I could do that. Listen, I think I'm athletic enough to where I can do well. Like I wouldn't win, obviously. Like, do I get any training time? Like it's just like I'm on call out of nowhere. Like right now, he just shows up. He's like, "Hey, bro, come spar for $100." Or is it like I get like a week of prep time? All I need is a week to have decent cardio. All I need is a week. Patty doesn't shoot takedowns. Wrestling is terrible. I'm just saying, like in theory, if he would, like he would stuff takedowns, or like he would stuff his grappling. Like in theory. Like if Patty were to grapple Arman, it wouldn't go well. You know? If Patty were to grapple Oliveira, it wouldn't go well. Maybe. No, Oliveira's jiu-jitsu is too good. Like his Patty mainly scrambles for takedowns. Poirier, I can see Patty getting into a real scramble with Poirier and then getting his back and choking him out. Who is the next superstar of the UFC, or do you think they are not in the UFC yet? I think they're not in the UFC yet, man. I think this current, well, the next, like because we have current ones, right? So if we're excluding like Taporia, Gene Silva if he beats Bryce Mitchell, some of these bigger names like Patty if he gets past Michael Chandler and goes on a little run again, like gets one more win after Chandler. Like if we're excluding those names, the next one I think is not in the UFC yet. Like Prates potentially maybe. Um, Patty lost to Jared Gordon and is on a 2-fight win streak of Tony Ferguson and Bobby Green. Don't know why people fell for this UFC hype machine so quick after subbing Green. To be fair, it was a good sub. Like it was a pretty decent sub, right? It was a pretty good sub. I ain't gonna you can't lie. Like that was a pretty fucking good submission against Bobby Green. People thought he would get fucking whooped on by Bobby Green. By the way, same thing against Chandler. People are like, bro, he fluked Bobby Green. Chandler's gonna whoop his ass. Listen, if Bobby Green was white, he would beat Chandler. And no lie. Well, no, because Bobby Green's black, right? I'm spitting here. I'm spitting in facts here. Bobby Green's black. Michael Chandler has black kids, so he wouldn't go all out and try to KO Bobby Green because he's black and reminds him of his kids. So we're all good. Kevin Holland have one more title run in him? No. Kevin Holland title run? Ninja. No. Not happening. Green is easy to beat if you force him to go first with kick, especially with how shit Green's reaction time is. Okay, I was like, what? Yeah, I don't think Bobby Green's amazing, especially in his old age now, but he still has great boxing. People were saying like, "Oh, Patty's gonna get whooped on by Bobby Green. He'll get his ass beat. Bobby Green's boxing is too good. He has no striking. Scott's gonna get knocked out for the first time, and then we saw Patty Green get a fucking sick submission." I'm just saying, like, I think Michael Chandler's boxing is worse than Bobby Green's. No fucking lie, man. I think Chandler all he has is a punch and a dream. I think Chandler is thoroughly ass. Like I think he's just trash. Chandler's last win is about to lose to Dylan Dennis's in GFL. Oh wait, Tony Ferguson. Oh my, dude's a fucking retire, man. All right, boys. But I think this is what I'm going to call it. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I will see you guys tomorrow. What time does the card start, by the way? The main card starts at 10. I will see you guys around 7:30ish tomorrow. Get some prelims fights in there. 7:30ish. Sound good? Sound like a plan? Be here, be square for the fight companion. And hopefully this time I don't get a copyright strike for just showing my face and eating chicken nuggets and I can't stream for a fucking month. Assholes. Fucking dickheads. Oh, camera died. I'm banned. Oh, it's over. GG's. I'm kidding. But I'll see you guys, man. Thank you, Mr. Toad. Thank you, Dean J, for the 20 as always. My favorite Hawaiian. You are the best Hawaiian that I know. I only know one, and it's you. Uh, but if I did know multiple Hawaiians, you'd be my favorite. Um, is you doing the same shit, Demiho? Welcome 2 years later. Happy 2 years, by the way. 2 years later, Demiho's still saying crazy visuals. Um, thank you, Demiho. Thank you, Calico. Thank you, Noah. Thank you, John Dong. Cranium as well. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 7:30. Sound like a plan? My bad. No, it's fine. I don't give a shit. Damn you, it's tradition at this point. It's always tradition. until I get a new camera, which probably won't happen for a while still. But I'm out here, guys. Peace out, man. See you guys tomorrow.